Joining me on the phone right now is Judge Clay Jenkins. He's the man in charge of coordinating this response in Dallas, Texas, and Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Thank you so much for joining us, Judge. We appreciate it. You said the quarantined citizens will be treated with dignity, but I guess there are some questions now about the family who are in the patient's apartment or in his girlfriend's apartment. Not only does it not seem very dignified with those sheets and towels still there, with them not being instructed on what to do with them, but it also seems a little dangerous. What's your response?
Well, Dr. Thomas Frieden and with the CDC, Dr. Lakey with the state, and myself met yesterday and decided to move this to an ICS structure, and I'm at the top of that ICS structure. So we stood up an incident command center at 8:30 this morning, but last night we laid out our concerns, and several of my concerns I've heard on your show. I'd like to see those people move to better living conditions. We wanted to make sure that as quickly as possible we got the sheets and any waste out of the apartment, that the apartment was cleaned if they're staying there for any length of time. Many of the things that you're talking about are things that our ICS team have worked on today. My chief of logistics is working on finding them more suitable living arrangements. And I think there might have been some misinformation about sandwiches. Well, there were sandwiches delivered by some of our staff last night, but they have about a week's worth of groceries that were delivered to them today.
Okay, great.
Dignity for them is very important.
How soon will they be moved, sir? I mean, in the next day?
We are working on that. I'd like to move them 5 minutes ago.
All right.
But we are working on that, and the team that is in place, we've still got the people that were working on this from day one, but our team that's come in to help with this is working very hard, and we're working well with those people, and we think the situation is going to improve.
In your news conference just minutes ago, you made a point to talk about your commitment to transparency. We all applaud that. Do you think that transparency has been lacking up until now?
Not so much lacking, but there's a lot of misinformation that is circulating through the community, fear in our schools that if a child who was around Mr. Duncan and is asymptomatic ever went into that school, that now your children shouldn't go there. And so we're trying to dispel those rumors, because there's zero chance of contracting Ebola from an asymptomatic person who's been exposed to it. And we're getting new information all the time, and so I want to get that information out as best as I can in real time to the media so that they can get that out to our citizens. We are putting in place a joint communications network, and I've asked the city of Dallas, and I've had Mayor Mike Rawlings has done, I think, your show or some of your shows, and he's helping with the getting the information out, because there's a lot of work that we have to do here in the EOC. Also, I've got Mike Miles doing that, and I've got their staff now embedded along with the CDC and the state's top doctors in our EOC here. That's where I'm calling you from now.
So, Judge, let me just ask you quickly, if you could, there have obviously been a couple big breaches in this. One, the patient going to the hospital, and somehow there was a miscommunication. And even though he said he had just come from West Africa, he went back home. He was sent home with antibiotics. That's a big mistake. And two, obviously the man's girlfriend in the apartment with these potentially contaminated sheets and towels. How do you make sure that these mistakes do not happen again in Texas?
That's something we'll look at in what we call the hot wash from this. I'm not a doctor or a hospital administrator. I'm not defending those two occurrences, but my focus is on the road in front of us and making sure that we don't have more fumbles, and just moving forward and protecting our citizens.
All right. Well, God bless and good luck, Judge. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on the show, Judge Clay Jenkins. We know there are a lot of questions out there about the Ebola virus, and CNN's medical team is here to help. Just use the hashtag Ebola Q&A on social media, also to CNN.com/impact, and you can find out how you can help fight the Ebola epidemic and what you can do about it.